me, El Teddy 27 again. This is still Angry Teacher Chronicles. This is my little segment that I will be doing at least once a week called Behind the Bleachers. Behind the Bleachers. Gonna be great. Epic, great, fantastic, whatever. Why? Because anybody who knows me knows that if there's anything I know sports. I watch sports all the time. I played sports in high school, even some in college. Great time talking about sports. However, I'm going to have a different spin on it. Of course, I will be giving an alternative, that's what we'll call it, alternative perspective to sports. But also, my segment is called Behind the Bleachers because we are going to focus on the seedy, salacious side of sports. I'm still going to talk to a certain degree all of the ins and outs, X's and O's, stats, and so forth from time to time. But for the most part, we are focusing on the seedy and salacious parts of sports. So we're going to get right at it. Get in there, delve in there, give you some quick bits on some stuff that is going on over the last week or two, and get in, get out. That's how we make it happen. All right. So first up, I saw a story, must have been about a week ago, and it was on one of my favorite websites. They don't do as much as they used to, but I used to love them, but I don't go there so much. Maybe I need to. Anyway, it's called footbasket.com. Anyway, they had an interview with Instagram skank Tiana Trump. Tiana Trump is an Instagram skank, and she's a porn skank. She does porn. She does Instagram. But the interesting thing about her interview was she talked about how she got into doing porn, because that was one of the questions. How do you get into doing porn? She talked about how she started taping herself having sex at an early age, at 16, which is bad enough. But when you add the caveat to it that the person who started her, I think broke her virginity, I don't know if they broke her virginity or not, but anyway, broke her porn virginity in terms of taping herself having sex, was an alleged Indiana Pacers star from about 8 years ago, who did not know she was 16 when they were having sex. And she said that what happened was she called him recently, and they were talking, and they got around to when they first started having sex, and she was like, well, do you even know how old I am? He was like, yeah, you're probably like 26, 28. She was like, no, I'm 24. And he did the math and was like, oh, so that means you were 16? And she was like, yeah, I was 16 when we started having sex. And he was like, oh, and did not care, and still has, and she says he still has the tapes, references the tapes, and has no bones about having sex with this 16-year-old, circa R. Kelly, allegedly. Anyway, so, but that's not even the best part of what she talked about. She then goes into this story about how there's an NBA player who is, according to her, one of the top 5 paid players in the NBA right now, who allegedly told her that he would help her get big on Instagram and get her name out there and help sell her brand better. And he told her that she needed to give him her Instagram information, and he would log on to Instagram and follow some people and post some things for her to kind of help build her brand, whatever. She said okay. He did that, but when she got her Instagram account back, she found out that dude was sending DMs to other dudes, other NBA players, other artists, probably musicians, other guys, trying to get them to send him videos of them jacking off or fucking their girlfriends or tricks or whatever. And she said he would pose as her and tell them, hey, I have a new phone number. I got a new phone with a new phone number. So send the videos here. And it was his number. And she's like blown away. She would not give up the name. I really wanted her to. But I say you can do a Google search and look on that list of who's the top. Look at the top 20, I'll say. Look at the top 20 grossing NBA players in terms of pay and try to figure that out. Really great names on there. So that was that, Tiana Trump. So that happened. I'm just saying, where was my DM during this time? Why didn't I get a DM? But that's not here or there. Um, then we got the whole Robert Kraft situation, and I'm not here for it. I listen. The only update that I have on the Robert Kraft is this ongoing thing about the fact that this tape that they have of the act taking place, reportedly on the verge of being released, probably already somewhere in the interwebs or whatever, the dark web and whatever. Nobody wants any parts of 77-year-old fucking Robert Kraft and 58-year-old Asian sex trafficked chick, whatever. I don't listen. Chick's name is Shin Ming Bai, whatever. She's the Asian lady that was reportedly doing the do with Robert Kraft or whatever. She's 58. And if you're Robert Kraft and you're a billionaire, I would like to think that you would spend a lot more money. If you're spending your money, you would spend it for something a lot better than a 58-year-old sex trafficked worker or whatever. But that's just me. Whatever you're float. But listen. Also, according to him, he seems to think that this is, and let me get this quote right. He says he's calling it a, quote, low-level consensual act. Let me put on my Gail kick. Robert. Low level. Let me make this right. Quote, low level consensual sex act. End quote. Robert, come, stop, Robert, stop. Anyway, moving on because the mental pictures in my brain right now that are being formed right now will permanently be scorched in my brain if I don't get off this topic. So I'm going on because there was a lot going on in sports this past week or so. The other thing that I saw in the sports blogs and on the sports media that I go on was the situation with Zion Wade. Zion Wade, if you don't know, is Dwayne Wade's son. He's not the oldest son. The oldest son, I believe, is Zaire, but Zion is the 11-year-old. So Dwayne Wade had a fashion show for his foundation and his charities that he has in Miami. And he had a fashion show called A Night on the Runway. That was the name of it. Real cute. Anyway, his 11-year-old son, Zion, in the immortal words of one RuPaul Charles, sashay, you stayed across that stage. Mama girl pranced across that stage, baby. Like, baby, here I am, like me, love me. Baby, the way that woman sashayed across that stage, baby. Anyway, Twitter and Instagram went ballistic because Dwayne Wade put it on his Instagram story when his son walked the runway, and the caption was "killing shit," and the Twitter and Instagram went ablaze with all of the homophobes coming out of hiding, and all of the people who are talking about conforming to societal expectations of masculinity and all of that stuff, which I'm not going to get into. But let's just say Dwayne Wade was very adamant about backing his son and was very proud of his son regardless. But baby, that Zion girl, hey girl, hey girl, hey Zion girl, girl Zion. All right. So that was Dwayne Wade and his son Zion. Right now, if you watch sports, you're into sports like me, you know right now we have the Sweet 16 that's going on with NCAA men's basketball. And my beloved Florida State Seminoles lost last night, so that means that I could care less about it anymore. Because my beloved Seminoles lost. I'm just so upset. The only thing I have to look forward to now in this NCAA tournament from here on out is me and my best friend taking so much joy in watching the players on the losing team crying so hard on the sideline. I mean, just buckets of tears on the sideline. Nothing gives us greater joy and pleasure than watching these basketball players cry on the sidelines as they lose and get bounced out of the tournament. Call me a horrible person. I know, I acknowledge that. I'm okay with that. I relish in it. It's okay. So, yes. And the other thing that I have to look forward to is my girl Luther Vandross singing One Shining Moment at the end of the tournament, because everybody looks forward to One Shining Moment, the song and all of the clips at the end of the tournament. Drinking game, for those of you who like drink like I do, you take a shot for every time they show a clip of someone crying on camera during One Shining Moment. You take a shot for every time they do that. Trust me, you will be ablazed by the time One Shining Moment is over. Just have about 6 or 7 shots ready to go because you won't have time to pour. All right, so moving on to the next one. Next, we had in the sports medium on the Twitter, you had 81-year-old Barry Switzer, who seemed to believe that his gnarled little 81-year-old fingers should be on the Twitter. So Barry Switzer tweets out this tweet referencing Ed Werder. And if you don't know, Ed Werder is a journalist who works for ESPN, sideline journalist, whatnot, for the NFL with ESPN. Not pleasing on the eyes at all. Neither is 81-year-old Barry Switzer. But I should tell you, he tweeted about Ed Werder, and let me quote him exactly. His tweet said, and I quote, that he, quote, only eat Ed's ass out one time. Let him tell you about it. Exclamation point, end quote. Let me say that again. He said that he, quote, only eat Ed's ass out one time. Let him tell you about it. Exclamation point, end quote. Now, I could harp on the fact that he probably didn't mean to type that and stuff like that, but that's not why we're here. We are behind the bleachers, and if we're behind the bleachers, we want to talk about the fact that why are you eating out Ed Werder's ass? And now that I have, go look up a picture of Barry Switzer now and look up a picture of Ed Werder, and now you can have dendrites firing to synapses in your brain cells and scorching that mental image permanently into your brain. Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead and get that mental picture, and I will move on, because that's a horrific picture, to say the least. And last, because I guess I'm lingering too long, last but certainly not least, the feast de resistance in the last 2 to 3 weeks. The ongoing epic saga of Dwight Howard. And I'm going to try and get through this Dwight Howard saga as quickly as I can. I'll just highlight the major points that you probably care about. You probably recall last year sometime Dwight Howard had a scandal that came out about a young man that was accusing him of harassment and so forth. That same young man, whose name is Elson Elige or Elegy, Mason Elige or Elegy, I think it's Elige. Anyway, he is taking Dwight Howard to civil court now. He's suing him for sexual harassment, threatening, and manipulation. He's suing Dwight Howard, and he's suing Dwight Howard's pastor, whose name is, I think, Calvin Simmons. He's suing both of them, which makes it sound like there was some epic threesome going on. But anyway, back to the story. Let me get to the seedy parts. The seedy parts are, apparently, Mason is alleging that Dwight Howard and he were in a relationship. He said they met at this party, which was not a gay party, it was a straight party, but they met, so forth and so on. Dwight hit him up in the DMs, told him to hit him back up on his Finsta account. So the guy, Mason, hit Dwight up on his Finsta account. Dwight and him had a budding relationship real fast. They were sexual, having sex, so forth and so on. Next thing you know, dude gets upset because Dwight Howard is cheating on him with a transgender woman who Dwight Howard met at a sex party that caters to guys who likes transgender women. And that's how they ended up breaking up because Dwight Howard wanted a transgender woman. Those are the gory details of it all. Yes, this is in Atlanta. This the civil case is going on in Gwinnett County, which is in Atlanta. Of course, because if you're going to a sex party, 9 times out of 10, well, not nine, because you still have DC and you still have New York. So, but if you're going to a sex party, and even Miami, where I'm from, to a certain degree, but if you're going to a sex party, 6 times, I would say 6 times out of 10, probably 7 times out of 10, it's probably going to be in Atlanta. Anyway, this sex party catered to those who like transgender women. But the most interesting thing that I found out about all of this is, I mean, we know Dwight Howard loves to have the sex. Because remember, Dwight Howard was the guy when he first came in the league that was all holier than thou. He didn't want to have sex before marriage, this, that, and the third, all of that. And he has like eight to 10, like 8, 9, or 10 kids. Like, I think he has almost 10 kids. But anyway, dude likes to get it on. Anyway, I just find, and I'm going to leave you with this, with the whole Dwight Howard epic saga. I find it very interesting that Dwight Howard is currently on injured reserve. Why? Great question. You ask some of the best questions. He's on injured reserve because he had to have surgery for an injury that he had to his, wait for it, wait for it. Surgery he had to have for an injury to his glutes, gluteus maximus, buttocks, ass, boongie. How, Dwight, do you get this injury? Knowing what we know now and all of these gory, seedy, and salacious details of what you got going on in Atlanta? How? And I'll leave you with that. And with that, I'll be gone. This has been another edition of Behind the Bleachers with L Teddy 27. I will see you guys real soon again. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely.